All right, yesterday I showed you a really cool demo where I took a VIX workflow, I believe it was this one, and deployed it to an assembly and then used it in that assembly. Today I want to show you something even cooler. We're going to deploy that same workflow, get registered VMs, to PowerShell, to both a commandlet and a snap-in. And we'll get started right now. I'm going to use the same workflow I had yesterday, which just makes a host connection to my local workstation and calls get registered VMs. I've already promoted the output property of the registered VMs as an output, and I can show you those right now. That output has been promoted and marked as output. Yesterday, we went to deploy. We deployed an assembly, and then we went and launched Visual Studio and made a whole application that used that assembly. Today, we're going to deploy to a commandlet. So I just hit the commandlet button, and I'm going to just call it test so that the command is get test after we build it. And we'll hit build, and it comes up with the PowerShell. We do get test. Now what this should do is call that workflow and get the output, which are the registered VMs on my workstation, and it did. And we can do more than just look at this this object, this virtual machine object. We could manipulate it. So let's go turn on all of my machines, just this one, obviously. And we'll tell it to launch the GUI, and I don't care about the tools, and that'll be my timeout. So if you already know what those methods are, you just type it like that, but we could use reflection and PowerShell to see what all those parameters were. But you can see from PowerShell, from the command line, I made the call to power on the virtual machine and launch it. So there we go. It's pretty cool, pretty neat to have a PowerShell interface through VIX, through this COM library, without having to know anything about COM or know anything about writing PowerShell commandlets or anything else. You just use PowerShell Studio to do all that. So now that you've seen that, let's go ahead and make a snap-in. Of course, you know the difference between a commandlet and a snap-in is a snap-in contains multiple commandlets. And I'm starting to build one for a power pack we're going to include in the product with some VIX libraries. I've just started building these things, but I've added a few snapshot commands in addition to the registered VMs. So again, we've already pre-compiled some assemblies using PowerShell Studio, and then I've added in, just using this button, these assemblies and given them all their own verbs and nouns. So it's as easy as hitting build. Once you've done this, and here comes that command. So if we look at the snap-in, we'll just do get commands. You can see that we have the same number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, of PowerShell commands in this one snap-in that we just built. So we can now launch commands of this. And I'm going to minimize PowerShell Studio while we play with this. You can see that we've got still the original workstation machine coming up from this command, and we have our new snap-in with multiple commandlets in it, and we can make calls over here just like we could with our straight commandlet. So let's go ahead and have a dueling PowerShell VMware VIX console and force that machine off. And we're going to do it hardcore. You ready? Boom. There goes that virtual machine. So, just to reiterate, we use PowerShell Studio to create a PowerShell commandlet and snap-in without having to know anything about either the libraries that we're using or PowerShell or how to do anything. We just drag and drop the operations, set the parameters are going to be output and input, hit the deploy to commandlet or deploy to snap-in, sort of follow along the wizard. And we get useful PowerShell commandlets. Thanks for watching. Keep the questions coming. We definitely appreciate your interest, and isn't it cool?